Oh boy, well, the cams, I think they're coming up. Yep, there we go. 1, 2, 3. We are here. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. And actually, I've just forgotten the music. We get through this eventually. It's only minorly scuffed. Welcome, everybody, back to the Wireheads podcast. For some of you, because I'm noticing our viewership numbers, I don't know why this could have happened, but they've gone up this week. So welcome. If this is your first time in, my name is Emmerron. I am a sometimes content creator, more often today professional GM, who is very much in love with and focused on Cyberpunk Red content. Joining me, as always, is my co-host.
Hello, everybody. I'm Diamond Dust, and for those of you guys who might be wondering why are we over here, because the way that we do this format, if you haven't been here before, we can't do this on two channels. Normally, I'm on my side, but I do a lot of streaming over on Twitch. I've been working on YouTube as well, and on top of that, I am a professional GM, and I have great news. I have more games opening up here soon.
Yay! So, welcome in, everybody. This is very exciting. There's, of course, the third face on our screen, which is not a normal thing, as kind of Diamond pointed out here. Normally, the two of us are talking about a couple topics each week that we think are either good, timely things to talk about because they're good advice for GMs or discussions around the game itself, or we're talking about like new DLC. Today, however, we are interviewing and having a conversation with one Rob Barefoot from our Talsorian games, someone that Diamond and I both met under a completely different context when he was Dice TTRPG on YouTube as a primary means of doing stuff. So welcome, Rob. It's so good to have you with us today.
It's good to see you too. Yeah. And also, hello everybody here. Yes, if you're angry at me for ringing a bell, I'm going to keep ringing the bell. Enough said. I enjoy doing that.
We support him doing that.
For those who don't know, hi, of course, Rob Barefoot. I still do have the Dice TTRPG channel over on YouTube, but I very rarely stream. I've pretty much dedicated all of my current time for content creation over on the Talsorian Games YouTube channel, as I operate as Talsorian Games' media and press manager. So if you're talking to anyone on social media or directing emails to us, you're talking to me before you speak to anyone else in the team. I'm also a professional Mike Pondsmith wrangler. I'm able to actually get him to meetings. It's a delight. It's a struggle. Love you, Mike. I couldn't help it.
I'm like, we've watched it in action at cons when we've been there with you.
No one understands the pure fear when you're like, oh, we got a meeting in 5 minutes. Where's Mike? And I have to bolt across the convention floor to try to find this man.
Yeah, he's just trying to have a good time, and you're like, we've got business, dude. We gotta go.
I feel so bad sometimes too. I pull him away, but I can't help it. It's part of my job. It's part of my job. But yeah, pretty much what I do for Artal is everything from handling media to I now was surprised to find out because Jay did a switcheroo on me that I've got my first lead writing credit. That was fun for No PR, which was the DLC for was it March or February?
That was March, I think.
April. It was March.
It was right before the Cutie Mist DLC, which is a crazy one.
That was fueled by sleep deprivation, random ideas, and me thinking what would be funny, and then just picturing flashing ears that turn into flashing. Never mind. But yeah, I've now designed. I have now wrote. I'm responsible for the lore of Pacifica and the Edgerunner's Guide to Night City, along with some other stuff back and forth. So I've done a lot with Artal in the past. Oh God, it's getting up to close to 2 years now.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was about to say, I'm like, because I think obviously Gamma notwithstanding as a convention or gathering of, TTRPG types, but I think every public facing convention that I've been to has been with you even before you were part of Artal. The first time that I went to Gen Con was literally the first time we met face to face. So
that was my first Gen Con too.
Yeah,
it was my first Gen Con. I had no idea what I was doing. I was so tired. and I was running around till I had holes in my feet.
Yeah.
Lessons were learned about boots that day.
Yeah.
That week.
Comfortable footwear is like a must, and I think that for me it was the following convention where I'm like, it's a little colder. I'll wear like a different set of shoes. That was a mistake. Don't do that. Nope. Wear the same pair. They're so much better for walking in.
I now have Air Force Ones that Lisa recommended me. And that's all I wear to conventions. I still wear my boots around here, but no, if I'm at conventions, it's comfortable shoes.
Yeah.
I don't need to be stylish.
Yeah, no, fair. So, as far chat as you go, so first and foremost, you guys feel free. Someone between Diamond and I are going to be monitoring things as, we're having a conversation. If you have questions for Rob, please feel free to ask them to our community who watches these after the fact, either over on YouTube or on Spotify. We tried to give a little bit of advance warning for this, but unless Diamond, you've seen something come in for Rob in that space, I haven't seen anything, but that not a big deal. But yeah, if there are questions, we probably won't get to them right away. We usually save that for nearing the end. But if you have questions, feel free to make us aware of them, and we will do our best to ask them, assuming we don't somehow ask them in line with our own kind of questions. So then, Rob, because I think, the three of us, we've been friends since pretty much, I know I decided to really get into content creation as a full-time gig. Diamond wasn't that far off, I think, in the timeline, because when the two of us met, both of us were like, yeah, we're
just
here.
For Black Chrome. The way I have it set anymore is just okay, so what book was being worked on? Just to kind of keep a timetable of what happened during the time of the plague.
That's honestly the best way to do it. But Rob, because I think we've talked about this in our private conversations once or twice, but I'm curious to hear, how is it what was the first journey of the first step in a journey of 1,000 of them that led you to getting into TTRPGs and kind of more indirectly then where you are today? Where did you start the TTRPG train for yourself there?
Are you sure you want to ask this question?
Very, actually. We asked this to a lot of people, so I'm curious.
It is due to Neverwinter Nights, the original one, and played the heck out of it on PC. And I didn't even know it was Dungeons and Dragons related. And I had fun with it, always wondered why I couldn't do more crazy things. And then it wasn't until I realized what I was playing, and it was Knights of the Republic 2 and the Knights of the Republic 1. That got me hooked on builds and, dice involved in everything. And then it came to a head. I currently live in Georgia. Grew up here. Half my life has been here, the other half has been in Orlando. And here, a friend of mine in a town called Macon, Georgia, he was running a game shop. I go up there one day, and it's on a Saturday, and he straight up just looks at me and goes, Rob, I got a problem. I have to host a Halo tournament, but I have these people here that I need to run Dungeons & Dragons for. Do you know how to play it? No. Okay, good. Can you just read stuff and try to kill people? Yeah. And that's literally it. And he sits me down as a GM in front of 6 people, puts a Draco Lich in front of me. And I remember that thing vividly. And it was early days of 4th edition for Dungeons & Dragons. And it was a complete shit show. It did not go well at all. We all had fun, and then we all went and got drunk after, because we were like, yeah, that game was a trash heap. Let's just go and do this. Shortly after that, I played in my first true game as just a normal player, and that turned into my first Nightmare story. Yeah, that's I cannot talk about why that went bad on any kind of media.
Yeah,
it's a tragedy and explicit. We'll put it that way.
Yeah,
trouble of playing with people you don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
After that, pretty much went into dormancy with it until it was an AP that got my attention, but it was not Critical Role like everyone else may say. It was actually something from Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter back in the day called Heroes and Halfwits. And what made me find it cool was the table they were using. I'm like, that's kind of neat. So I just started watching just because I watched a lot of Achievement Hunter back then. And I got through Heroes and Halfwits, and I'm like, oh, that was okay. Is there any more? And everyone kept pointing me to Critical Role. I watched it. At first, I didn't catch it on until like the second episode. And then I managed to catch up to it on the day they did the Battle of Emmerron. And I followed all the way to the tail end of Campaign 1, got halfway through Campaign 2, and I just couldn't keep up with it due to work. That's all.
Yeah. Hey, nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's kind of been the thing. As it's funny enough, because like when I decided to start my own AP, that was like, I'd seen a little bit here and there of like clips, but it's very rare that I had the time to like sit down and watch a whole episode. So I dove into it like very much like, yeah, like we're playing a game live. That's all I'm doing. I'm not really getting too worked up into the theatrics and the production of it all. We're playing a game live. People want to, hop in, whatever. But that's very much, I completely understand that. Because yeah, APs they're a fun way to look, I think, at a new game if you're trying to really grasp like what makes it so interesting for some people. But they are they have some limits. Time being the biggest, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, it was after I got into Critical Role, that's when I started looking around the others. That's when I came across Acquisition Incorporated, Dice Camera Action, and yeah, that fueled it a lot. But it was I ended up playing a lot of West Marches games and a few servers. I was involved in a few projects, but nothing major. I then get drug onto a live stream that was called Legends Through Shadow. And let me tell you, I have a horror story from that one too. It was a prime example of how an AP should not go. It was very, very, very bad. Well designed. I loved the layout they did, but it became very unprofessional very quick. I maybe stayed 3 episodes and then basically just played 5th edition for a long time, and then backed out of it just out of burnout, and I felt there was just too much to it. It sounds weird, but it's like when you have too many options, that's just as bad as having few options because you don't know what to go with. Then my girlfriend at the time, after like a year or two of not playing any tabletop, she begins to get very, very overhyped for a video game that I couldn't really care too much about. It was just not on my radar. I was having fun playing Red Dead Redemption 2. And it comes out after multiple delays and her losing her mind every single time it delayed. I called her dumb for it. And then she conspired with my roommate to sit me down and make me play Cyberpunk 2077 against my will. I played for 10 straight hours, and by the end of it, I was hooked, and I went, damn, this is like a tabletop game. I love this. And yeah, after that, bought it. Within 2 months, I was tracking down a copy of Cyberpunk Red, which was sold out everywhere. Eventually, a friend of mine in Canada found me a copy and sent it down to me. It's the same copy up here. It's a second print. It has been through hell. Yeah, but it's straight from Canada, and it got me playing.
Hell yeah! No, like I've got a 1st edition that definitely it's seen its share of battle scars at this point, but it's it's that honestly, that's kind of incredible. So you, like a lot of people, were like the 77 thing, the bug is what hit you first, and the tabletop came after, kind of thing. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's because I had the experience what I did with 5th edition that made me go, all right, I know this is born from a tabletop game. What's the current edition? There's the current edition. Oh God, why can I not find it? And it was literally a ordeal to find it. I mean, I was able to find Street Stories, but I didn't pick it up because at the time, I was not big on pre-written adventures.
Sure.
And that was due to Waterdeep Dragon Heist. That was my big letdown from 5th edition, because I went from Tomb of Annihilation, which I adored. Like, that was a great designed hex crawl. And then Waterdeep came out which was pitched as a heist and all that, and it
No,
was not. It was
that was my last foray into 5e, so I understand you on that one.
Yeah.
I suppose one of the other questions I wanted to get into, because it seems we are looking into your background as well. We both.
They're not finding the arrests.
Wait. No, I'm not asking about that. That sounds like a side story for another day. But one of the other things we wanted to look into, because Emmerron and I both met you, and you kind of mentor us a little bit from time to time on content creation. And we wanted to look at as when we first met you as Dice. How did that happen? Like how did you get there with Dice? Like where because you have talked about like some previous channels beforehand, and you can feel free to discuss what you will. But we just kind of want to know, how did you get where you did on YouTube before our Talsorian games?
All right. So my first true YouTube channel I made back in 2015. That was a variety channel. It was just whatever game I wanted to play. Mm-hmm. And I only did it because I was bored. I was just going through college, and I was working through live sound and design, and also recording engineering. So at home, I had a condenser microphone, preamp, and I'm like, you know what? What if I just use this to make some extra bucks? I just did it for the heck of it. And I did that for about a year. And then someone finally pushed me onto Twitch. I couldn't stand live streaming at first. Stuck with it for a while. Went through my first rebrand. And at the same time I did my first rebrand, I wound up going to a site that had just launched that was called Beam.pro, which eventually turned into Mixer. And it was weird because I was there so early on that like the founders would come and just hang out with me in my stream. And to be partnered on there in the beginning, you just needed 300 followers, not 300, anything else, 300 followers. And the reason why the site was even interesting was because it had what was called Lightspeed, which was zero latency streaming. It was actually a really cool thing to do because back then I used to love doing nightmare runs of Alien Isolation, and with a soundboard people could literally mess you up at will, which I had a ball doing. I wish I still had those recordings. I ended up doing Beam.pro, and then here comes the first iteration of YouTube Gaming. YouTube actually had its own game live stream website before the current iteration, and so I started going on there, and it pulled me away from Beam right around the time it flipped to Mixer. And right around this time is when No Man's Sky released. And that was when I hit my first real big peak. Because back on YouTube Gaming, of course, you have more viewers than you have streamers. And I, at that time being completely rookie, was sitting there with 150, 300 viewers on a platform where that was rare. It was just so heart-crushing how bad No Man's Sky turned out on launch. Yeah. Like me and Mike Bondsmith, we actually talk about it still. Like that's the game him and I discuss. Like, yeah, that sucks. Yeah. We both love it now, for the record. We're not saying it sucks now. That's a great game right now. But due to the fact that I went back to college, and I also started working a very, very intensive job, I basically had to stop. A couple of years pass, I get bored again, so I end up starting a Twitch channel where it was initially called the Dungeonologist. That was the actual name for it. No one could say it, and everybody just kept calling me Dungy. And anyone who didn't know me kept calling me Dungy. And I'm like, no, y'all being too Canadian. Don't call me Dungy. It literally started because a friend of mine, Canadian, would keep calling me that on stream.
That's hilarious.
And that was my main streaming on Twitch for the longest time. And I say my most successful time on Twitch was due to that channel and me being involved in Grand Theft Auto roleplay, specifically on a server called the Family RP. I've played on NoPixel. I have been all over. And then Red Dead Redemption 2 roleplay dropped, which it's always been just kind of nice to have something that rustic to go back to when we live in such a high-tech society. I kind of like going back to those days where we don't have that mess to deal with, or what do we have to have? And I did that for a year and a half to 2 years. Yeah, like around 2021, I ended up just retiring. I made the money I needed to, and I was already working as a voice actor at the time. Doing Twitch paid for my voice acting equipment. This microphone I'm using right now is my professional VO mic. I moved it out of my booth to my desk because there's a spider in there, and I'm not dealing with it. He can have it. I'm looking at the door right now. He can have it.
Yeah. It's either that or burn it with fire, and that's not.
Every line I recorded for No PR as Bly Harjo was under duress because I was staring at the nest. If you hear anxiety, it's not the dark future. It's not knowing what's above me. But to continue, I ended up retiring from Twitch, deleted the channel, and just like took a hard step back. But as it always happens, I got bored. So I hopped on YouTube, and I'm like, you know what? I want to do something, but I don't want to be recognized for my RP stuff. I want to be a nobody again, because I feel honestly the best time I had was when no one knew who I was, and I could just interact with folks more closely. So Final Fantasy XIV, I spent a year running a channel teaching PvP back in the days of the Feast. And then when Crystalline Conflict dropped, the channel took off. But God, if the PvP community on Final Fantasy XIV is the most toxic place to deal with. It is terrible.
It's a niche inside of a niche. So like I kind of could see how that happens.
I wanted
angry people.
I wanted to get in and play Crystalline Conflict, and because like, oh hey, that reminds me of my days playing League, and then it's just like, oh no, we're not going there. Nope.
I was playing League today. Like I got a story for League later. Bring up League later. I'm gonna make you all hate me, and I hate myself. I hate myself.
You were a sweaty League gamer, were you?
No, actually, I enjoy playing stupid builds that should not be working. I like being a troll. I'm a Shaco main.
Okay.
Yep.
There it is.
We don't know anything about your tendency to troll people. Not even a little bit.
Well, it's so basically when I was making that Final Fantasy XIV channel, I first started to dabble in something that was beginning to take shape, which was shorts. This was at a time where the only way to get on shorts was you had to upload the video in the proper aspect ratio. You had to make it under a minute, and you had to put #short in the title for YouTube to turn it into a short. They had no interface for it. And in doing that, I started to learn how to make shorts and make them popular. And I used to consider it awesome when I would get like 500 views on a short, because shorts were part of the normal algorithm back then. And due to those, and before the changes happened that made shorts be what they are now, I was able to actually make that channel be monetized purely through shorts at 1 minute views. And it apparently was something people have rarely done. But due to the toxicity and the fact that I was losing interest, because when you do nothing but PvP, you get sick of PvP. I decided, you know what? I'm going to make that tabletop channel I always wanted to make. And I decided I wanted to prep it so that whenever I was ready to completely hop over from 14 to TTRPGs, it would be able to live stream right off the bat. So I made a plan. For the channel, I said, I will never show my face. I will never talk about myself. I will never discuss my religion, politics, nothing about me. I was only going to be a voice, and I was just going to teach or show things. And I'm like, well, what can I do that will at least get people watching stuff on this channel before I hop over? And then I realized just showing cool things in 2077 and talking about the lore. So in 3 batches, I made I want to say 15 to 30 shorts, and I released them just in bursts of like 10 to 20. And I did that over the first few 6 months. Nothing happened. It got me to the views I wanted. I got maybe 500 to 750 subscribers in that 6-month period. And then I'm like, you know what? Yep, I'm done with 14. So I hop over and I'm like, all right, let's go ahead and do this first one. So I sat down and I made my very, just lost the light. I made my very first video, like long form video. And it was Cyberpunk Red Sit Down. I mean, Cyberpunk Red Rundown, which was me doing a review of the game. And I posted it. And I posted it alongside the Cyberpunk Red Easy Mode short, saying, hey, you can just get the rules for free. The next day, I'm like, oh, it's at 5,000 views. Wow. An hour later, hold on, why is it at 10,000? And then in a day, I just see it just start to go. And I was very confused and very shocked. And then I just see every other short shoot up. So apparently that one video was enough to kind of light a fire and make YouTube go, oh, this person's talking Cyberpunk. And I got swept up from talking general tabletop into Cyberpunk. And after that, I just kind of kept going. I made my next review video, which was the Brave Runner RPG one, which I put the most work I ever did in a video into that. And then I fought my first true DMCA war in that video. Me and Warner Brothers duked it out. But I ended up from there, just Edge Runners dropped, and I had a few things going on in my personal life that just gave me more motivation to focus on working on something rather than just letting it sit. And in my first 3 months after that, I hit the first million, and then from then on, it was just experimenting to see what kept going. It didn't slow down. It did not slow down until almost a year later, and I stopped right around the time I got hired by Talsorian.
Right.
And I had already hit 30 million views by then.
That's, yeah.
And now I'm at 41 million. I don't talk numbers often unless it's relevant to the conversation, but I still feel very lucky because I have no idea how the hell that happened. But I also know it was because I made plans and studied things. Yes, I did. But it's weird to see things come together like that in such real time. Like when you see the analytics, when you have just views, post something and it has such a high bar that the rest of the views are just aligned, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
I remember the first time I saw the scale on mine kind of do that, and with a far lower upper threshold than yours. But yeah, like very much like the first time you see a spike, you're like, huh. Okay,
it's a little bit of a dopamine hit.
Yeah,
like,
something worked really well there. What is going on? Yeah, no, it is a dopamine hit, and it definitely is something that like is extremely motivating to be like, all right, well, I've got something that I'm making that like clearly people want and people value, and like it's very cool to see that unfold when you really commit to like trying to make something of that. I agree completely.
And it did come down to me just taking a lot of time before I even truly started on the channel, seeing what other people were doing, and me simply going, how can I not do that or do something my own way?
Yeah.
I identified what the folks were doing, like John and Rob Mulligan, and I'm like, they're doing a great job, and they know a lot more than me. There's no one really doing intro stuff. All right, I'm going to be the hand that helps people through a door instead of teaching them the ins and outs and be like, this is what you do. Go study the more complicated stuff that way.
Right.
It's literally good. And it worked.
Yeah. No, I know like when I was new to GMing the system, I really just had the my GM Phantom, who you both met now.
He's got good taste in bourbon.
he's such a good guy. Like, but overall he was like, I think it was his brother Connor, who has played in Neon Inferno, was the one who suggested 2020 to him back in the day and was like, hey, like we should check this out. And they tried some of it in their own time that I wasn't part of, and they're like, yeah, like this is cool, but it's a lot, and so we're gonna like pause that for a little bit. And then they became aware that read had a Jumpstart kit. It was like the first foray into the new edition that we were getting. And they're like, oh, we need to like do this. And so the two of them get in touch with my brother, and I think it was like my brother and their brother that were part of that initial group, and like a friend of ours. And my brother came away from the first session where he's like, oh man, like we defended this apartment. This was crazy. Like we're doing all this crazy things. Now we're about to go do a smuggling run. Like that's our next thing. And I'm our nomad. And like, Phantom is saying we need a hacker. And I'm like, a hacker, you say? My power fantasy, really? That's so funny, fascinating. Tell me more and how I can join. And so rather than going to the gym that night, my brother and Phantom were over, we built me a character out. Like when we didn't have character creation rules yet, that did not stop us. We made all kinds of fun homebrewed decisions that led to some very crippled gameplay later for my character, but it didn't matter. I had a blast. And yeah, the rest is kind of history. 6 months in, he's starting to teach me what he's been doing. We look at John and everyone else, and we kind of get this patchwork of ideas together that like let me go in and like do things. And I'm like, well, that's not too bad, but I also have like a decade's worth of D&D GM experience at this point. So like, it's easier for me because I have context to like base it off of. So that's kind of where I got my start, was in like GMing is easier than you think. Here's what you need to know to do the GM thing. Because it's far more about doing than it is about being perfect at it. It just like try.
You don't have to be a philosopher. You don't have to be any kind of virtuoso. If you can get your friends through the game and you leave them laughing, you've done a good job. Or crying, or screaming, or traumatized.
I like the crying and the screaming.
And I'm always an advocate of breaking rules. I love breaking rules if it makes for a good game.
Yes.
That does not mean I just wantonly just do stuff. But if you even watch someone who's GM'd for a long, long, long time, they don't spend that time wondering, okay, what's this exact? They'll just go, all right, do this and this for me. Okay, you've succeeded or failed. If you ever watch Mike do that, he really just is playing his game. And it's interesting to see how it plays out. Like if you ever really want to see it, go watch the Acquisitions Incorporated AP we did with them last year. It hands down is a perfect example of how Mike plays. And you can tell he's just having a ball the whole time, and everyone else is too, and no one's really worried about, So I wonder if I can actually run from suppression. He's not facing me, but isn't suppression 360 degrees? No, it's just, hey, you're in line of sight. Yeah, get to running.
Yeah. It's like those bullets, they're whizzing past your head. You better get low or move quick.
It's about the fun of it, not the exacts of it. It's a lot of anything in TTRPGs nowadays primarily have moved away from wargaming aspects into the narrative and role-playing side. And that doesn't mean you have to be an actor.
We got this bad boy right here for that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, chat. I'm running this one later tonight, so that's where I'm like, I've got my GM stream out on my desk.
Dread. I've heard good things about Dread.
Oh, I've heard. Yeah, I've heard about it. Oh,
Jolly. He's one of the people who write with us. He's also one of our admin from Discord. He sent me this. He actually has a copy of it. This. I found out about this game through Tabletop, and it's a game that uses a Jenga tower to keep tension here. And I just love that aspect. I've used that exact thing in 5th edition.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah. It's a storytelling game that if you're actually in a situation where you are going to possibly succeed or fail, you go to the tower.
That's so cool. Okay, yeah. That's something
really innovative. I think it's from like 2003.
Oh, really? That's wow. That's incredible.
I remember seeing a group play Dread in college. It was a good time.
Dang, that's crazy.
Good time.
That's crazy. It's funny because it's like I feel like my eyes have gotten wider and wider about like what's possible in the tabletop space since like starting Red. Like Red was like kind of the gateway to like, yeah, sure, there's D&D over here. Like you've experienced 4th edition, you played with 5th edition, and you kind of didn't like it so much for me, right? Like this was my personal journey of like 4th was there, loved it. 5th is there, kind of don't love it. And then it's like take a break for a little while and come back to Red. And then like Red's like, okay, so let me just show you what's possible when you open your eyes and your mind a little bit beyond what you thought was possible. And all of a sudden it's like Morkborg's coming out, Fabulous coming out. We got Blade Runner, we got Dragonbane, we got like just go and go and go. And it's just like, oh my God, everything does something different. And then like through the last few years, getting to know James Hutt from being at conventions and chatting with him in downtime or, you know, getting a meal or whatever to have conversations. It's the Jenga tower concept there is something that sounds like something he would do because he's
Sounds
got
like a James move.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
like just using unconventional tabletop. Like we played Beetle World at PAX that he is the game he's working on. It's a modified
all right.
Uno
I'm gonna have
deck.
to interrupt here about Beetle World now. Okay.
Yeah.
Do y'all
What?
know how much agony I was in, but how bad I wanted to come over there and play with y'all? I was so tired.
Oh,
I
buddy.
was so tired, but wanted to come play.
I mean,
We can try to run it back at Gen Con because we will all be there. Like
I mean, worst comes to worst. I mean, I could have paid for an Uber for you guys to get back to the hotel in one piece.
Oh, no, I was comatose. Like y'all have to
Oh,
understand, traveling for me is extremely tiring.
yeah.
And that combined with fixing a sleep schedule plus
Mhm.
potential jet lag. Yeah. Me doing conventions, I'm usually dead on my feet. So this year at Gen Con, there has been precautions put in place to make sure I'm not dead on my feet while also still being able to do everything I need to.
Oh,
So yeah, it's it's gonna be the most organized I've ever been at a convention. I've got a dossier. I got a dossier to make sure I don't get exhausted, so I can actually hang out and do some of the cool stuff.
So
See some
yeah,
of my
so
friends
just
from like the Darrington Press and
sift a page under for the Beetle World run back, and we'll
I want to run some games. I want to run some games. There's
well,
I got plans. Can't
You got
say much. I
plans?
got plans.
okay. No, hey.
I tell you what, though, if Case File 3 drops, I plan on running that at some point.
Oh,
If we're talking Blade Runner, have you read through the alpha?
I don't
the
have
alpha copy
access
of Rebel
to it.
Rebellion.
I don't have access to it.
Okay, I've it's got some of the best art I've seen. But then again, Blade Runner's art has always been amazing.
Yeah.
they're very good.
They-
They got that noir style down
But-
to a science. It's insane.
Unfortunately, the media contact I had at Free League Press is no longer.
Yeah.
Free League is no longer there. So
Bull
I can
Berman
show you-
was amazing.
Bolt Berman is part of the reason why, like, early on it felt like because Rob put Bull into my contacts list and was just like, hey, reach out, tell her what you do, like, and Bull was like the first case of like, oh yeah, here's someone who believes in like what I could be doing, and to the degree of like, here, take like a vast amount of our library and like see what you want to cover, like try it, see what you think. And it's like, so that's where like Cyborg, my Cyborg, my Morkborg, my Pirateborg, my Dragonbane, Blade Runner, like all of those reviews that ended up going on my channel were directly because Bull literally was just like, here, what do you think? How do you feel about these things? What's your opinion? Yeah, it's being a media manager. Because I know when we've talked privately before, Rob, I know because you and Bull were both kind of aligned in that same sphere, especially with what you do now. I know you've mentioned before that she was like a massive influence on the way that you ended up kind of approaching your job at Artal now, because you kind of have the same role she did, basically. So, go ahead.
Whenever I started getting into it, I mean, my main mentor, of course, was Jay. And the one thing I wanted to do was make sure anybody who's done reviews or content creation, want to do interviews, I wanted to make sure that they felt just as welcomed as both her and Jay made me feel. Because there is an anxiety that you have to deal with whenever you're a creator and you're trying to talk to a company for the first time. Like I remember the first time I tried to talk to Jay, and I think it was a question I was asking him in preparation for the Cyberpunk Red video. And I said, hey, I'm sorry to bug you. I can bet you're really busy. I don't want to be a menace. I just have one question for you. Me not realizing, how bloody crazy Jay actually is.
Yeah.
And I go, I just have a question. What do you think the thing is that most people are afraid of with Cyberpunk Red? And he said, the freedom of it. And I did not understand that until much, much, much later.
Yeah.
And I realized how much people want absolutes instead of be willing to play with the absolute freedom the game does give you.
Yep.
But like even then, like he was just open. He's like, yeah, dude, cool. And then it was only like a few weeks later, he hit me up. He goes, hey, are you that dice guy? I'm like, yeah. Why? And he goes, do you want some stuff? I'm like, I can get stuff. And then he sent me over.
We can do.
Then he sent me over. He sent me over Street Stories, and what else? Oh, Interface Red Volume 1, the Netrunner deck, and this archaic thing. Where are you? I know you're here. For anybody who doesn't know, I've talked about the shelf that fell on me. It's right here.
Yeah.
Just trying to.
Still there, braced properly now, but still there.
It's no longer held up with a Gen Con lanyard. I'll put it that way. So this thing is the original. This is the original GM screen.
Yeah.
Oh, the data screen.
Whenever you actually hold the data screen and compare it to the new one now, you see why we changed. This was one of the last ones that was in the warehouse back then. See the wear and tear on it? It's only been used at conventions.
Yeah.
Only at conventions.
Same kind of thing for mine.
With our new printers.
Same. No, like that, you're right that like that, the quality difference is like night and day, and you can see why you guys like, I remember for that, it was like a year, I think, year and a half, where the screen just flat was not available. You could not get it anywhere. And then the new one came out last Gen Con. It was like, oh my God, this is incredible.
Whenever I was like just coming in, that was when the screen was out. I didn't even know it was out. And this was just me in around. Like everybody's like, "Where's the screen?" And I'm like, "Oh." And then when I finally got hired, they said, "Yeah, we wanted to find a better quality printer," and they legit hunted one down. Like it was not something sitting, but this is me talking almost like a fan more than someone who works at the company. Whenever we have something that we can't do or we're stuck on for a while, we try to take care of the fans any way we can. And it was legit just Jay at a meeting one day. He just goes, hey, anyone got a problem with me setting the digital of the data screen to $1 on TTRPG until we get this working? And we all went, let's fucking do. That's literally it. There was no question.
Yeah.
And it was just because, hey, we're sorry we haven't got it out to you. So until we get it, here it is digitally for $1. Yeah.
Yep.
Because we don't want people feeling that limited to it. Like right now, we're sold out of a few things. Reprints are already happening. But even then, we're like, if this takes a while, how can we hook people up?
Right. Well, and even the Jumpstart kit, I know, has been priced down for an eternity for the digital, just because, like, well, physical, I've heard repeatedly is like this is not, we're not reprinting the physical at least as is anymore, because it's just not in date.
It's the beta rules.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put it to rest on the Jumpstart kit. Until the rules in the Jumpstart kit are updated, it will not be reprinted physically. Yeah. Because we want to go through and bring it up to the Cyberpunk Red setup. So we then will still have technically 2 starter sets, but we just want to make sure that the confusion that can happen, like people asking about burst fire being gone and stuff like that, we want people to actually be able to take their first steps into the game as it is, rather than the beta rules. And most of the time, people nowadays are buying the Jumpstart kit just to get access to the apartment. It's the reason why it's so priced down so low.
I appreciate that. That's like because it's funny. The apartment, as good as it is not my favorite thing from the Jumpstart kit. Mine is definitely not Kansas. That gig was one of the first that I played through. It was Red Chrome Cargo and then that were like my first forays into Red. And that one really put us for a loop because it's the first one that we got like the, you know, there's a double cross somewhere in the supply chain and you have to react and figure out who is the one that betrayed you. Because if you get it wrong, like the threat, one isn't gone, two, you know, can just loop right back around and find you anyway. And like, it taught me so much about the like duplicity and brutality of the world of Cyberpunk in a way that like the apartment can. There are definitely scenarios within there that can do that, but they're not nearly as visceral, at least not the way I've played through it at my tables, as definitely not Kansas, where it's like, oh, they're gonna level a whole building on top of your head, man. Like that is what's gonna happen if you don't catch this. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, how do you respond? What actions do you take? So that's always one of those that like when I point people at that, it's like that and the apartment are like my two where I'm like, you need to get this if only for these adventures because they are well worth the asking price of $8 for a PDF. And then like you just have to go through the basic work to translate them into the main rule set, which has been kind of done for us now. So like that's pretty nice.
Yeah, and it's wild nowadays thinking about when I got into Red and the difference in the amount of stuff there is, because Jay did a count on like the weapons and gear we have. We're only maybe 10 to 20 off from 2020 in terms of weapons.
Yeah.
And that's not counting the micro modifications like from Black Hands. It's it caught up quick, and we did that in 5 years.
So we did guess we were about on par last week.
That's
when we were talking about it.
Because we had just were like, because I remembered talking with you guys. I can't remember if it was PAX or Gen Con this last year, but like
it was PAX.
It might have been PAX, but regardless, we were talking about counts, and I think it was either Jay or James had mentioned like, yeah, we're like 75% or more to catching up with 2020. And that was before we had Red Mist. That was before we had, any of the other, gear DLCs that we've gotten in the months since. And so that is very much like wild to me that like we now have an inventory of items that is almost as massive as the first edition of the game, despite being the library of 2020 was released between 1990 to what was kind of the last book produced there that was released out into the public. Do you know that off the top of your head, or
it was the early 2000s. I just can't remember.
Gotcha.
Off the top of my head.
Even then,
I wish I was the encyclopedia that is Jay Gray, but I'm still getting there.
No, I mean
this job came with a study regimen, let me tell you.
I don't doubt it. But even then, that's a close enough estimate, because that's what 10 at most 15 years worth of stuff. And you've done it in half to maybe even like less than half the time that the whole edition existed. You're nearly caught up. That's insane.
Yeah. And it's been through the DLCs themselves. I mean, like a lot of these books from, the 2020 era, a lot of them are a lot smaller than folks realize, but they still brought a lot to it. Yeah. And that was something I think we even talked about beforehand. A lot of them, instead of it being multiple releases in a year of, $100 soft, I mean, not $100, wow, 100-page soft covers, it's now multiple bursts of free content with maybe one or two major hardcover releases a year.
Right.
And it's been a good approach because through the DLC, we've done what we wanted to achieve. We've been able to constantly keep content coming, keep the game fresh, and give new options. Like we recently just did a poll, to see what DLCs people could see in the core rulebook.
Right.
And The data we got from that was honestly kind of shocking because, sure, the majority of what people really wanted was stuff that is the extra parts in other purchasable books, you know, like the NPC Generation of Danger Gal, Economy 101 for Black Chrome. But there was one DLC that at least 80% was everybody that thought it should be in one. And that was actually the one we just put out on the Demiplane Red Nexus, which was Hot Pursuit. It was the vehicle rules for chases. And we all kind of looked at each other and we're like, all right, damn, cool. Because
makes sense.
It does not mean we're putting out a whole new edition of Cyberpunk Red. That's not what that was. That was us seeing, engaging. Like, oh, I need to get that out. There's going to be another poll. I'm going to get it out Monday, maybe tomorrow. That's going to be about NPCs. We want to see who people use and things like that, just out of our curiosity.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that was like when Black Chrome, because Black Chrome was kind of the first entry into that side of things for sure, where it was like, oh, well, that like really helps to comprehensively like frame what the economy in Red is supposed to be, how items and purchasing power and all of that's supposed to kind of like wrap together. When we got that economics 101 chapter in the back, and it's like, okay, well, like that's crazy how small that section is, but how like massively important those things are. And I remembered at the time even thinking like, that's kind of weird that wasn't in the core rules or expressed in a way that it's like directly accessible by people from the get-go, from the jump into Red, because it feels so like, especially when I was new to Red, that was the hardest thing to wrap my head around, was to get the idea of like, this is what a scarcity economy looks like. And like, because at the time we still hadn't quite, I think, bore full witness to what that was, or we had only just kind of became aware of it. But like when we started Red, that really didn't make any sense to me. And so it was like, oh yeah, this is what it looks like. It's like, oh, that's incredible. So I could definitely see like between that and like NPC creation guidelines, and the chase rules, honestly, like all three of those feel very like, these are common enough scenarios, or common enough like ideas that people will grapple with and have some difficulty with, that like need to be in the undercurrent of like, here's your base level understanding of the world, the system, etc. Why those would be such popular things, because even if they are from premium products as well, the necessity of those things to be in the core rules definitely feels pretty imperative to me. Like when I've recommended people, that's why I always, even now, still recommend Black Chrome be like one of the first books they buy. Because I'm like, not only is it going to give you a ton of goodies for the whole table, but it's going to give you like all of those rules that make less sense until you've read that chapter, basically. But yeah.
And we're able to now, because as time goes on, the whole point of those sections is to, of course, expand on what we wish we could have fit in the core rulebook.
Okay.
And we also can admit that now as time goes on, we're getting more great real world examples. I mean, people wonder about the economy of Cyberpunk Red, and we go toilet paper in the the bug era. In case this goes on YouTube, I'm not going to say the C word, because let's face it, YouTube has more of an aneurysm than anything else if you just mention a certain virus. So we talk about the toilet paper thing, of course, supplies. It's more independent driven, 3D printed stuff. And then a lot of people still think it's post-apocalyptic. And now we can literally point to Dogtown, which we go, if you want to see how it is in Time of the Red, it's like Dogtown.
Yep.
And this Night City is still a city of extremes. Like really, the cover alone shows you Night City.
Yeah.
It has a big old hole in the center of it now, but it's still, that's Night City on the edge. No pun intended. And we're able to actually properly explain it out, not only with the additive sections in the books, but also through the DLC, because Jay loves to hide lore in DLCs everywhere. Like every single weapon of Black Chrome usually has some lore in it.
I'll sift through that stuff every day, and I'll hit Emmerron with a, hey, did you see this? Everyone's be like, what do you
So
mean?
I noticed a funny thing. Did you notice this too? Yeah, no, that's a pretty regular conversation starter between us.
Well, it's like a lot of people don't realize, but a prototype of a certain weapon from 2077 that's extremely iconic, that is in the arms of almost everyone who plays. The biggest hint at what it came from is actually in Black Chrome. Yeah. It is a certain bladed weapon talking about how the hissing is similar to a particular. Yeah.
Yamato Wakazashi. Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay, I thought
James snuck that in there.
I thought we were going to be talking about Faisal's Convenience from Toggle's Temple being like a predecessor to Slotomatic or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh god. Well, and now like we're able to expand on so much more. Like people, when we talk about Toggle's Temple, what we did in Toggle's Temple is both new and is not new.
Right.
This is something actually I had to clear up on the Discord recently, and someone directly called me a liar, because I'm like, no, it's not really that new. But what we basically did with it with new range tables, which is something that we've not really hidden. Like we're up to stuff and things with that. People will find out about that soon.
Yeah.
But we also have made it so the values, you know, when it comes to like 100 to 500 to 1,000, those are always meant to be flexible, moving up and down. So the pricing of a lot of new weapons, like you see in the DLCs, are the combinations of both the base weapon and the modifications in it.
Right.
And also any other stuff like that. That is stuff that people have always been able to do and have fun with.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to make your own stuff, and the categories are there to give you a guideline. I believe in breaking guidelines anyway. So it's you're able to have that freedom. And once again, it comes back around to freedom rather than having things be so absolute.
Right.
But we do know people adore their name brands. So we keep that in mind now.
Yeah. No, the name brands matter. Well, because they're like a tangible thing. Like you can hold on to it and be like, oh yeah, like that's what I expect. But like, and like guidelines are kind of the same way, where it's like, okay, cool. Like this is what I can like, if nothing else, if I'm not feeling particularly brave on a section of the game, I can just like look and say it's 100 or it is 500. And then when I do feel brave, I'll just like, all right, so this is its availability and here's its price. Like, have fun. You know, it's good. It is good. It's a nice compromise of all of the prescriptive and descriptive stuff that you can do in the space. But yeah,
you can really go in deep with it.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, I thought Don was going to speak. I'm sorry.
So did I, yeah.
Well, I suppose something I wanted to jump to, seeing how we are starting to hit the latter half of the episode, is now that we're there. So I remember when we had first met. It was just actually, I think, a few months before you were actually onboarded onto RTG, because I think Emmerron and I both ran into you like when you were doing the shorts for Black Chrome. Now, I kind of want to get the story on that, and I don't know if you could share it with us, but I'd like to know, how did you end up being the face for, or being the voice behind Black Chrome and Danger Gal Dossier leading up to Gen Con?
Jay just hit me up. He just hit me up one day, and he's like, hey, if I got you an early version, an early copy of Black Chrome, there's our new book coming out, would you do some shorts for him? And I go, you know, me completely geeking out. Yeah. You know, just completely giddy about it. Just like, yeah, sure, cool. I get a free book. Awesome. I want free thing.
Free stuff.
Free stuff. And when he sent it over to me, I can't remember if we were in voice call or it was just in DMs, and I'm just cycling through stuff. And I go, oh, shit, this is cool. And I kept going. And I go, how much of this can I show? And he goes, whatever you want. And I go, don't tell me that. Help me. And so I directly told him to make sure I had a limit on, or I would have showed everything. Right. So I decided to do, I think it was a total of 10. And I'll show you what the first item was that I saw that I immediately wanted to make a short on, and I decided not to. I instead went the arachnid grenade. Yeah. And
I remember when that video dropped, I'm like, oh shit. There's more.
Whenever I saw
the
hoverboard.
So I love my superheroes. The moment I saw the hoverboard, I'm like, this son of a bitch put the Green Goblin in this book.
Yeah.
And I thought it was way too cool of it. And I was like, you know what? That's cool, but people are going to want weapons more. Because
Yeah.
unfortunately, I know tabletop gamers. We want things that go boom or go stabby stab. That's just what we do. So I was looking through and I saw the arachnid grenade and I just started laughing. I go, you know what? I saw that hoverboard and I was like, why not? Let's Spider-Man this. So boom, that was the first one.
That's hilarious. Oh yeah.
And I went through and found ones that it was genuinely just me being allowed to pick what I wanted to and put it up there. And it went well. And it was like the first time I truly I was so scared the whole time. Because I'm like, I want these to do well, but oh shit, I've never done a promo before.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. And it went well. And then a little bit later happens. DangerGal.ca starts coming out. Jay goes, hey Rob, what's up? And I go, hi. He goes, got you another book? And I went, fuck. And so the anxiety started all over again. And I think the first character I did Big Top? No,
it was.
Who was it I did? It was?
No, you did Jester for the Bozos.
Jester.
Yeah.
And I saw Jester, and this was during the time of the trend of a certain Ace Ventura, Ace Attorney character being popular amongst certain members of the community. I see this as just like, oh, this timing's way too good. Anyway, gosh, now I'm trying to think. It wasn't Mouse, was it? You didn't do the face of Danger Gal right out the gate, did you?
No. I'm pretty sure I did start with the Bozos because the Bozos were just iconic. And
was it the Fool?
I don't want to say it was the Fool.
Hold on, I'm literally pulling this while we're talking. So
who is she? She's the one who lost her legs.
That is Jester.
That is Jester. I do believe she was first. It's been a while.
No,
God, it's been almost 2 years.
Scrolling back. Ooh, wow. Yeah, I forgot how many of these you did for that book. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. Yep. Because you did faction videos first, talking about some of the ones coming in.
That's right. I did. Because I developed a format for those promos that I literally am going to keep using. The use of the lead in and the lead out to lead into the next one, just to at least keep people's attention.
Unless, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Unless this is out of order, but I have it sorted by latest.
No, they should not be. They should not be. So it might be Serial.
Serial is the first one that was listed after the, hey, we're starting these, and then it was Wakako. So it was Serial, then Wakako, and then you went.
Yeah, I was going with the famous ones first. That's right. I was trying to get the high views in first.
And then
Serial first, and then it was Wakako.
Yeah.
And then after Wakako,
Gustav.
Oh yeah, the good boy.
Everybody I remember as soon as Gustav got posted, the fucking server exploded. Everyone was like, dog.
We have animals. Holy, and dog. It's so funny.
We have animals.
It's so crazy, actually, thinking back on that it took then another, what was that? At least another year before we actually got cyber pets. It's a full-blown rule set. That is kind of mind-blowing to me, actually, knowing that we had a singular animal, and some drones that are animal analogs before we had cyber pets. That's insane.
Ooh, excuse me. Forgive me if I yawn. I've been up since about 4 a.m. my time.
You're good.
But, you're good, dude. Yeah.
It has been wild to look back on that stuff and go, crap, I don't even recognize some of the stuff I was doing. A lot of folks don't know how completely jury-rigged all those shorts were.
They looked very good.
Yeah.
But what if I told you the blur effect you see at the edges of the black going down to the white? What that actually is actually the Cyberpunk red logo snapshotted from the book, the top of the book, blown up until the edges are so pixelated they turn into a blur. That's not an effect. That's just a very, very, very blown up picture. I did a lot of jury rigging that made it look good, but really,
we call those tricks of the trade. There's nothing wrong with tricks of the trade.
There was no tricks to it. It was just my trade, and it was just jury rigged.
I mean, it's fitting for a game like Cyberpunk Red that that taking shit like that and smashing it together. Like it works well that way.
Yeah, Gidra says the only thing that matters is end results, and I agree completely. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's been my whole thing, because I do the same kind of thing where it's like, can I like weave it together in this like little way? Like, all right, well that didn't look good. What if I just compress it? Ah, that worked. All right, cool. Next one. Yeah.
Oh God, don't even get me started right now. Like I use the like, I'll pop open this. So the edges of the pages that we have for everything else, like those little red lines right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you only knew how many pieces those actually are in, I made the mistake of thinking, yeah, I'm going to use them as the edges around my shorts.
Oh gosh.
I did not know what I was bringing upon myself.
No. There's so much. Like when I looked at those the first time, I'm like, holy crap! Whoever did that is like, they meticulously placed things here in a pattern that is near impossible to replicate. That's insane. It's
like a fingerprint. It's really cool.
It is. No, it's incredible. Like, because was that a product of Winter Jays, or was that something? What's the lore behind that, if you know it? Who
Jay
made
Gray.
that? It was Jay that did
Jay
that.
Gray.
Yeah,
he's a madman. There's a reason why he's the lead of the Cyberpunk line. He's a madman.
I don't doubt it. Yeah, no, that's from a graphic design perspective alone, that is insane. Then to decide, yeah, we're gonna use this in all our layouts is like even crazier. Like, I'm just thinking of the load times on stuff like that, because it loads all of the objects whenever you copy it like that. So it's like, oh boy, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. I've always wondered though if there was encrypted stuff in those where it's like, oh yeah, if you piece this apart, see, here's something that it can leak out into, because it feels very code-like.
If you ever give Jay the chance to sneak something in that's funny, he's gonna do it.
I don't doubt that.
Like he's just as much of a troll as I am.
Yeah.
Okay. We have fun messing with people. Like, even right now, if people paid attention, they would notice things, just even these conversations, that I'm pretty sure are going to make them start asking questions about why. But they'd have to be really, really, really observant to catch on to stuff I'm doing. What?
You know,
why the silence?
No silence. It's just, it's letting it sink in for you. This is the silence for effect at the end of that sentence.
If I'm not causing some kind of chaos, I'm enjoying myself.
Well, it's like when we've been at conventions and you take a photo of something at the table and you're like, all right, I'm gonna like chat to give you all an understanding. I've watched him construct this and he's like, watch this is gonna make people go nuts, and then he positions things perfectly. It's so fun.
I'm very good at little stuff. Wait, we got talked to a year ago about someone wanting to do like ARG stuff, and I go, you don't want to ask me about that. My love for ARGs was spawned in the 11808 era. Don't you dare try to get me with subtle stuff. I will blow your mind. Because I love things that will get people curious, but also not overhyped.
Sure.
Because I have been involved in many games that just have little things, little codes, little stuff, and it's just fun to put stuff like that together. And I never make it so obscure that you're not ever going to get it, but like hiding things in a sound file, that's fun.
Wait,
that is fun.
What Diamond?
I gotta go sift through Nomad PR now.
Yeah,
Fuck.
so Diamond, what you're gonna want to do
is
take a spectrograph to it and have fun.
Oh, I hate that you called it what it was. I hate that you called out what they're called.
Look, okay. I've been in part of too many spectrograph-based ARGs at this point to not know about them.
What got me to like spectrographs and ciphers? Spectrographs from back when we were figuring out Thargoids on Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
That was awesome.
Exactly. That's
that
it.
Was
awesome.
It was so cool. And like I love using little things like that to quietly promote things that are on the way, like, you know, stuff and things. I almost said too much. I had to stop myself.
It's
I had to literally stop.
Chat, it's time to learn how to work a spectrograph. Have fun.
Wire is that going to be next week? Well, actually, no. We won't have Wireheads for a couple weeks. Because,
we will be.
I will go ahead and save you all the looking. No, I have not hidden anything in a spectrograph yet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, I thought you were about to send me on a wild goose chase.
No,
It's
no.
like, oh.
It's fun though, because like I always like to keep Diamond guessing when it comes to stuff like this, because I haven't looked, Diamond, in case I left that impression with you, but you thought I did.
I don't have the tech know-how to run spectrographs.
I mean,
It's
what was it? Audacity, I think, is the Audacity. You can
have
run
no
simple
idea what
spectrographs. It's freeware.
you can really see some cool ones if you just go, of course, to anything from, I think it was Doom 2016.
Yeah.
There's actually pentagrams and devil symbolism in every single song.
Yeah. There's an
so
album. There's an album that dropped somewhat recently, which was the Bring Me the Horizon. What was it? It was Post-Human Next Gen. Next Gen had a ton of. They had a whole ARG that the album played into, which is insane.
Cool.
If you listen to the end of some of the tracks, you'll hear the spectrograms because they've got like a really noticeable like whooshing noise. Almost is the best way to describe it.
They stick out unless they're well hidden.
Yes.
And like with the Doom soundtrack, it just sounds like it's part of the mayhem.
They're very.
But then when you play it back, you're like, oh crap, that's
Yeah.
I'm going to hell. Still gonna like this music. I'm going to hell.
Yeah, they used a chainsaw as an instrument, man. I don't know, like, but I suppose the next question, because we've talked a little bit about the past, so I'm kind of curious, as you have grown into the role and like become a little more comfortable with the way things work at RTAL now, as like someone who isn't the new guy on the block in quite the way you would have been, you know, like a year or two ago now. What has that experience kind of been like? Like, what was like some of your greatest hits? Like, what are you some of the most proud of as far as like getting projects off the ground or working on things? Like, what are some of your like proudest achievements that you've accomplished thus far within your role?
The Acquisitions Incorporated AP, 100%. The Table Story AP for Shadowscar.
Yeah.
How the marketing and promo went for the Edgerunners mission kit. A couple things I can't talk about yet. They'll be very apparent throughout the year. And also just quite literally being able now to use, it's so nice to actually use all the skills I've learned in my life rather than just pieces of me. And I can't talk about it yet. God, I can't talk about it yet. There's something I'm extremely proud of that it's not finished yet.
It's still bearing fruit. I hear ya. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the community content program. It's something else. It's something I'm doing with Cody. Shadowscar related. That's as far as I'll say.
Okay. All right. Well, that's very exciting. I know Diamond and I were like not even on the show. We were talking privately, actually just this morning when we both still hadn't fallen asleep yet.
You mean when I was waking up and noticed y'all were awake and went, how are we gonna do that?
Yeah.
I woke up.
Yeah.
So
she woke up. I hadn't really slept more than a few hours at that point, and I was just like, we'll get it done. But we were talking about like, oh man, we cannot wait for the Shadowscar core rulebook to drop. Like whenever that happens is going to be a great day. So like when you say Shadowscar related, I'm like, I want it. I want it so badly. Like I need to do more with that game. But it's such a great game.
The sheer amount of stuff I'm able to do now and now I'm comfortable doing, because whenever you come into a new job, you're always worried about overstepping your bounds or doing too much or stepping on someone's shoes. Now I know exactly what I can do and what I have the power to do.
Sure.
And I'm a lot more comfortable in it. And it's made things just a lot more smooth. Like being able to really pull stuff together for like the mayor's desk. We've been wanting to do that for a while. And while this week, it's tomorrow, we're going to be doing that. We already got the event up. We already got the stream up on our YouTube channel. And then it's going to sink into like a bi-weekly thing so we don't get burnt out.
Fair.
Mhm.
And I have even been sitting and thinking about putting together a game, just a one-shot, kind of doing a much more expanded getting paid. Just something like that to show people how to play without much worry. I may even set it into 2070s, something like that. Because
This is making me excited already.
yeah, it's just to give people a little peek at how to play, because you can watch so many good games of Cyberpunk Red on YouTube right now. Like, it still stuns me that Polygon's game is over 1 million views. And then you have, of course, Realmsmith. Then you have Acquisitions Incorporated. You'll have y'all's games. And I'm sitting there like, I don't want to take the steam from it, but I do want to put something up too.
Yeah.
And part of me has wanted to just kind of do it as a little secret on the side and just pop it out one day. But here I am talking about it now.
Yeah.
And so it's my love, though, for making things, I don't want to say low budget, but there is an old charm in just literally doing only an overlay and just playing with some friends.
Yeah.
There's a lot more value in focusing on less production and being more genuine than people get.
I 100% agree. Like, that's not everything needs to measure up. And this is like good advice, honestly, to any GM or aspiring GM. If your worry is that, oh, well, how will I ever measure up against the Brendan Lee Mulligans and the critical roles, or like, how will I ever measure up against these people that I have watched as my kind of role model for even having an interest in doing this in the first place? You don't need to. That is not what this is at all about. Like, they are voice actors. They literally went, some of them, to school and did this educationally, professionally, all of that. You are having fun. There's a gulf of reasonable difference between you and what they do, and you'll get there too if you do it long enough. Just take it from me, I do silly voices. I've been doing silly voices. My silly voices lately have been getting better because I practice.
Be a role player, don't be an actor.
Exactly.
You don't have to be an actor. Take this from someone who used to be an actor. You don't have to do the most deep Shakespearean moments. Play the game. Just play.
And also, like, I've always kept all my work very low production, and focused on the game as well, alongside like Emmerron. And personally, I have found that it's one less headache to worry about. Would I like to do much bigger productions down the road? Absolutely. However, at the end of the day, it is literally you, your friends, playing a game. You do not need all the other wild, crazy effects that maybe some of these much bigger groups have going on. But that's also because these much bigger groups have much bigger budgets.
They do, yeah. There's some truth to that as well. But yeah.
Also, as a comment to you, Rob, in regards to doing an actual play, like, do it. Like, honestly, to have Artal have like a newer actual play, and just like here's this, and then look out to some of the other games as well. It's always a good launch pad for people to leave.
It always comes down to timing. And like with the community content program, the reason why it's taking such a while is because, for me, that's what I work on whenever another priority project isn't taking up my attention.
Okay.
So I would even put the AP as a lower priority than the community content program.
Fair.
Which, if people are wanting to know when it's coming out, I'm trying to have it ready by the release of the Shadowscar core rulebook. That is when I'm wanting to have it.
Oh.
It is going to be released alongside it, because for the majority of it, it is going to be Shadowscar and our other own games focused. And then, of course, I have to consider the things for The Witcher and then Cyberpunk. But when it comes to it, it really has been spurred up around the flexibility of homebrew for Shadowscar and how open of a system that is.
And that's something I do like with Shadowscar, is just it leaves that potential for community content that works. It works well.
I should go ahead.
Wait to see it.
I should at least go ahead and spoil this. the first DLCs for Shadow Scar are coming soon. I will go ahead and say this. I won't say when, but yeah.
They make me
And
excited.
I've kind of said that I don't want them to get in the way of the Cyberpunk Red releases either.
Sure.
So people who are fans of Artal are going to be eating good.
Yeah.
They're going to be eating good.
No, that's very exciting because I know that was something. I forget where I'd first heard that. That was kind of the plan. But I remembered hearing the DLCs for Shadow Scar were something that was like pretty early on in the my awareness of that overall project and the game was something that I feel like Cody had mentioned maybe as far back as PAX 2023 when I was having a conversation with him, and he was saying like, yeah, we're going to do DLC and stuff. I was like, that is such a good, I think DLC is such a underutilized thing in the overall TTRPG space for games that are the size of things like Cyberpunk, Shadow Scar, like etc. Right? Like those nice like mid to large size games like that just expand them way further than a book released in kind of that same time period really could.
Yeah.
You know,
And
or
we're
flexibly do that, you know?
We're now at the point we have so many DLC on our website.
Mm-hmm.
Our website redesign, unfortunately, is paused. I'm going to be just doing some tweakage to it myself. We're not doing a whole new website like we've been planning.
Okay.
But I'm going to be spending some time and hopefully redoing the way people can go to our DLC page. So they're going to have an easier time navigating it because it started as just a small list, but that page has gotten to,
it's a mile long now. Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. Shadow Scar is only going to expand that further now.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, we're utilizing Drive-Thru-RPG to kind of make it easier for people to get stuff.
Sure.
Like you can just download the bundle. And recently I did something sneaky because I wanted to see the interest myself.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went ahead and put like the Edgerunner's Folio as its own separate download up on Drive-Thru-RPG. That thing has been the most popular download, the free downloads we've had on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's more popular than whole bundles in terms of how many times it's downloaded. It really gives me a good idea of how many people are like constantly looking to get something new. And how much more time we got?
We've got about an hour?
I mean,
okay.
Yeah, we normally run for 2.5 hours. Obviously, it's later for you than it is for either of us. And
I don't mind.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking is I'm wondering if I want to start spoiling stuff in the middle of the stream instead of waiting to the end because everybody's just going to jump to the end. I think I'm going to be evil and say at least a few things in the middle.
Please.
So that way we can make sure people hear.
I love it.
Because one of the people I watch and learn from when it comes to like making my when I was growing my channel was Devin Nash. And like halfway through at random times, he would say, if you're still here, write this down in the comments because thank you for sticking around.
Yeah.
So we're going to say, if y'all are still sticking around for this, make sure you jot down martial arts down the comment section on YouTube.
Please.
So at least I know you made it here.
Whoa, he said the thing.
Martial arts. Okay.
So, all right.
Oh,
Interface Red Volume 4.
Oh boy.
Really looking forward to this release. Yeah.
Okie dokie. I'll go ahead and let y'all know we are at the point where the moment we're releasing it.
Sick.
It's at that point.
We're verging on it.
The cover looks so good. The cover looks so good.
Is it another painting?
No, but if it was, I'd be buying it.
Yeah. You already had V3. Might as well.
They don't know. I don't think a lot of people know this.
Yeah.
Is that
you're talking about that, right?
painting?
Yeah,
yes,
the one right there in your background.
Let me see if I can get this to focus. So the cover of Interface Red Volume 3 is an actual oil painting. You know, things that people tried to say was AI. No, it was a physical oil painting. Yeah. And that's it right there. Like, can we see? Let's see if it actually zooms in. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Oh.
So that right there is that's actually the cover, the real painting, the original, the artist did, and I just was straight up able to buy it from the dude.
Yeah.
I'm back. Hi.
I still think that's awesome.
That thing is so cool. Yeah.
That was my birthday gift to myself last year. It was not purchased by Artel for me. I just bought it for me.
Yeah.
And this year, my gift was this lens.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense, honestly. And like the thing about cover art like that, like obviously the oil painting is a one of a kind thing, but I know like when Reds, I think it was when the Jumpstart kit came out. It's either JSK or the core rulebook, but I know like some of the like posters behind my head here are ones that like you could order them print to order from drive-through back then, and I was like, cool, well, like, yeah, I want wall art, so like let's do that. It'd be cool if we could start seeing some of those art pieces that are so like you know, iconic, sort of brought to life as something like that people could get. I know I'd be buying some of it, but yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing the cover art of Exotics being a reference to Cowboy Bebop as well.
Believe it or not, I didn't catch that until earlier this year. No joke. No joke. It took me that long. I was so mad when I figured that out. So we have actually been talking about art prints and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
We're just trying to find a way to properly get it to folks, because usually when you order posters and stuff like that, they're full. And if we're going to be getting art out to people, we want to make sure it's going to be nice and flat and level.
Rolled. Yeah.
Yeah, rolled. So we're seeing what we can do about that.
Yeah, but you were saying
we've talked about it.
You were saying something about Interface Volume 4 because you were saying the cover art's so cool. That's how we tangented off there. So
yeah. What can I say? The cover of Interface Red Volume 4, let's just say, is featuring something happening to someone, and the someone doing the something is someone people will recognize. That's all I can say.
Okay.
It, of course, is martial arts focused.
Sure.
It's right now, honestly, if it's not out of editing, it's close to it. So it's like right on the precipice. And to give everybody an idea of how this all goes, whenever a book comes out of editing, we of course go through it again. We get the art and everything finished and organized as it should be. Then after that's done, we send it off to DriveThruRPG to prepare a proof so we can see how it looks when it prints out. Like last year at Gamma, the copy of Interface Red Volume 3 that we had was the proof. It's the only one in existence. I tried to take it home. Jay wouldn't let me.
So you took the cover art instead.
Yes, I did. Screw you, Jay. I get something special. I'm a collector. I've always been a collector. Yeah. I like cool things. The process should take maybe a month and a half. Okay. But what I'm planning on doing, at least for this release, is I would like to do something to get it out earlier to people, if possible.
Okay.
But at this time, too, we're not going to be doing the same thing as we did with Interface Red Volume 3. Okay. This is going to be... Go ahead, Diamond.
No, go ahead. I was just responding.
Yeah, I got excited. You Steve, we're up to something. It is going to be... it's an individual release. It's not going to have an attachment to anything else unless something's going on that I don't know about. But we have not partnered with anyone for that release. It's going to be its own release this time.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else I can share. There is an upcoming thingy. Can't talk about that. Crap. You see, this is the difficult part.
Yeah.
Because I like talking about stuff and things that I can't really talk about. But I also know Jay I'm pretty sure he can punch me really hard. So I try to avoid spoiling too much. He doesn't worry. He gets to leak.
Yeah, he's got like...
Yeah, Jay has dropped information on Wireheads.
A little under 4 months before he can properly punch you unless you're meeting with him in person before that. So like...
Next month.
No, next month. Oh, well.
Next month, he can get a piece of me next month.
No,
if he wants
1
to.
month. Okay.
Yeah. We are exploring multiple options when it comes to how people can get it printed, because, and this is something here that I do think people should at least be aware of. When it came to Interface Red Volume 3, you can only get it standard print. The reason why we did that is we wanted to keep it cheap for people. We didn't want people to only have the option of premium printing. This time around, we're seeing if there is a way we can do it option for both standard and premium. And that may also may potentially mean a premium version of Interface Red Volume 3 if people want to pay that much for it through print on demand. But we've not really delved into that yet. We have a lot going on, so we've not fully jumped into that yet. I don't want to go too far into that as well, because that's Jay's cup of tea. I'm not going to take his fire. He's got some interviews coming up soon. But yeah, Interface Red Volume 4 is in a good spot. It's in a real good spot. It took us a little bit just due to an art delay, but nothing else.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And a lot of folks already know like how many martial arts are in there. Because of a poll I did. Not a poll, a quiz, just to mess with people on YouTube, because I can. I don't need a reason. I just can.
See comments about trolling earlier in today's episode.
And I do intend to let a few folks get their hands on it for some early previews and things like that. Because let's face it, I'm not going to break the tradition. I was able to start it. I'm not going to break it. I'm going to continue it. There's no reason for me to. I will let others, because there's a lot of martial arts styles in that thing.
I do like being having been able to preview the last few releases has been fun for me. So I look forward to hopefully doing that.
If any content creators want to, ask for a little bit of an advanced review copy, Rob.Barefoot at Talsorian Games. I'm very easy to, or if you just want to be lazy, media at Talsorian Games, because that goes to me too.
Yeah. No, it's gonna it's good to know. Like, yeah. And if you are if you're watching this and you are part of the content creation space, number one, we love that you're doing what you're doing. We are better as a wide community. As
don't pull your hair out like I had. This mohawk's not optional. This is just because I pulled all my hair out doing content creation.
Well,
this is not a style by choice. This is anxiety.
As Rob and I both kind of heard at Gen Con that very first year before he was a proper employee of Talsorian Games, we had dinner one night where it was literally like me, one of my friends, Rob, and Jay at a Subway. It's not at all glamorous, but we had a particularly...
I love that Subway.
It's a
great Subway.
It is a great Subway, but it's by most people's standards to be like, you met with these people. It's like, we had dinner at like the most non glamorous kind of place that just we're all tired and hungry and we wanted to chat. And I still remember hearing at the time Jay mentioning there isn't really competition in the cyberpunk space because everyone has a different lens through which they're seeing the game. You're all teaching different things, or even if you're teaching similar things, you're teaching them in different ways. And so if you are a creator in the space, thank you for being a voice that teaches people through a different way. People will latch onto your stuff in ways they may not latch onto ours, which is perfectly fine.
I'm gonna interrupt you here and just straight say it. Just because someone else has done something does not mean you can't do it. I'm serious. It's everyone values different perspectives and different views and different methods. Every single one of us has a different way of playing this game. It's a tabletop game. None of us are playing it the same way. I mean, James wants to put me in a headlock, I bet, for how I do bullet dodging, but I'm still gonna do it. Because it's my way.
I remember his comments about that last week. I have seen that part.
Did you see my face drop?
Oh, I'm like, he's just like, all right, you have fun with that. Was his comments? I'm pretty sure near verbatim. And it was just like,
I missed some beef.
A little bit.
Just a skosh, because James kind of did one of those like raised his eyebrow.
He gave me a look. I gave him a look, and I'm like, "How dare you ignore the difficulties menu? I mean, the difficulties chart."
It's like I just let him dodge.
One of the most contentious things, like just dodge,
Yeah.
just let him dodge, and I felt the color drain from my face.
Neo didn't
Like,
need to
you
take
just
penalties to
do
dodge
me.
bullets. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. I'm happy that one got done early, though. I'm really happy that one got done. But anyway, to bring it back around.
Yes.
The whole reason why I even kicked off was because I looked at what everyone else was doing, and I just went, how can I do this my way?
Yeah.
And I did the thing.
Yep.
Also, this is very important. Don't be, how can I put it? I'm trying to get the right word here. I know what I want to say, but I don't want to say it in a way that makes people think it's divisive. Don't be so locked in to a single medium. Now, what I mean by that is, if you're coming in, you have to remember you're coming into a game that has not just a tabletop game, but it's got a board game, it's got combat zone, it's got an anime, it's got a video game. All of that is cyberpunk. Every bit of it, not just one little thing. So that's what I did. Like, I talked about the video game and I talked about the tabletop game. I've not talked about really much of the anime or the board game or combat zone. That's a niche even I've not looked into.
Have you not played Combat Zone?
No.
Oh, buddy, you gotta check it out. Oh, it's so good. So good.
The folks at Combat Zone have wanted me to sit down and play it, but I've always been just so busy at conventions. So hopefully at Gen Con, I'm gonna get a chance to, or else I'm gonna get smacked.
Wrangle us. No, we'll come with. We'll join you for it. It'll be a fun one.
So here's something wild. Believe it or not, speaking of Combat Zone, I actually have Combat Zone starter kit up there. And I didn't get it. I did not get it by buying it, and I did not get it by being the Talsorian's media manager. I actually won their March Madness contest.
No shot.
Way
That's
back.
crazy.
They did not know who I was. They did not know I did, YouTube. I was a random person on Twitter
crazy.
entering the contest.
So cool.
Yeah. And it's still to this day, I look at it and I go, God, this stuff is cool. Damn, I suck at painting. That's my whole one. I'm one of the few folks who also have the little true mini of Rebecca and Adam Smasher.
Oh, the moment.
I actually have the moment. And oh God. Michiko, forgive me.
Yep, I've got the convention Michiko as well. But yeah, I played it online with a few friends, using some stuff to Roll20 work to make it happen. But it was a good time.
Well, I mean, this is one thing too behind me. Not to brag again, but this down here below, this is my former computer table.
Yeah.
And these are two just Chessex maps. So when I move all this stuff off my table, this camera is top down, so I can just GM physical, because I like doing physical and analog more than anything else nowadays. But to bring it all back around, like, even I haven't tapped into those niches. And the amount of people looking at cyberpunk content compared to how many people are doing it is massive. It doesn't catch it first, but when it catches, I'm proof of it. And it really does surprise me. Like, I'm still blown away that there has been no one who has sat down and done a build channel. Like, one of my favorite series to do back on my YouTube channel that I only got 3 episodes in, was what I called rolling. And all it was me rolling characters, starter tier, that people could play their own things with. And it was straight inspired by Tulok the Barbarian. And he literally made a career off of making 5th edition builds. And God, I had so much fun doing that. But I was stupid and I didn't pay attention to how many stats I was using. Every one of those builds, after making them, they were strong builds, but they were accidentally underpowered. Each one has 2 stats, 2 less.
Wow.
So they literally can be even stronger. It was just me miscounting. I did 60. That was how many I ended up doing. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. But
I mean, it leaves 2 free points across the board for...
It does. It does. And I had finished the Batman build for that and the main build for that, and I just never made them because I got so wrapped up in doing shorts.
Sure. Because
shorts does take a lot of time, and then I made an error. I started to live stream, and I was live streaming too much. That's a thing you got to be careful with. If you live stream, this is straight advice too. At most, only 3 times a week, 4 hours max per thing. Trust me. It's very easy to be absorbed by live streaming. I'm at warming out quick. But to bring it back around, like, I'm surprised no one has done a build channel. There's a few good lore channels out there. Wisefish is awesome. Laid Back Gamers, he's awesome too. The Neon Arcade, a lot of good lore channels out there. So if you're going into the lore, you have competition. Like Kelly Elizabeth, she's good too. But you have like a lot of things that still just people will look up to go, okay, how do I make a stealthy ninja solo instead of boom, boom, pow? And people will look that up. Like, I would love to see someone not only do that in long video form, but find a way to abridge it into a short too. And just have that link back. So here's the actual info, but here's all the good details that tell you how to do it in a long video. Yeah. That would work. I would love to see somebody do that. And if you do the storytelling right, like one of the most harrowing experiences Emmerron here has ever been through was when I was trying to convince him the power of shorts. Yeah. I sat his ass down. They're good. I sat his ass down and I go, look, I know something cool about 2077. You're going to show people it. Yeah. And I sat down and made him do it and directed him. And that short got 11,000 views in 2 days. Like, that's... Anyone can do it. Yeah. Anyone can do it. Yeah, anyone can. It's like you were saying earlier, though. It requires you doing a little bit of research, like understanding... Whoop, I bumped my mic. Like, not doing that. But it understands, like... Don't worry, I've already thrown a water bottle. It went over there somewhere. I dropped it, and I'm like... Yeah, it's fine. It takes understanding why certain choices are made, why certain structural decisions are there, and like understanding why those things are important before you... It's like I've always said about GMing. You GM first raw so you understand why the rules exist, and then do your thing after to understand, like, okay, cool. Like, I know the rules, now let's bend and break the ones that I don't necessarily agree with, you know? It's the same thing in content creation in a lot of cases. Exactly. And it all comes down to just doing one thing. Have something to show or teach, put it together in a way that's almost like storytelling, make your points quick, and make sure it's something that people can come back to. That was the rules I followed. And you don't have to do the exact thing I did, but I'm very insistent on people trying it so that they can then take it and do what they want to do with it. Because I always want people I know to succeed, and with content creation, it's hard. And I look at stuff almost obsessively sometimes in studying, you know, trends. I look at just straight views, but I also look at other data that a lot of people don't realize is important. Believe it or not, with YouTube, views and subscribers don't really mean that much. What you want is a specific analytic, and it's called reach. And that reach is how many times your video wasn't played, but your name in that video popped up on someone's recommended page, or it was quickly shown on somewhere. It means you got in front of an eye that stayed longer than a certain time, so they saw you. That is, to me, just as powerful as a view. Yeah. Because that means you're still there. And if you're still getting reach, that means there's still a chance people may watch you. Yeah. So a lot of things like that are a lot more important than people realize. Like, I'll release a short, it gets 100 views, but I look at the reach and it's like 1,000 to 5,000, which means people know it exists. They may not have played it, but they've seen, hey, there's something out there that teaches me how to make a stealthy ninja solo. You know? Yeah. Well, and there's a lot... And there's a lot of shorts and stuff that I know, like, not necessarily tabletop related, but I mean, even just like things that, you know, bleed into your periphery enough times that you're like, all right, like, let's actually see what that's about after like the 4th or 5th time of that. That's what reach really makes metric out of, essentially, is like 4 or 5 times that's crossed one person's periphery. Cool. Like, doesn't matter that they haven't watched it really at all in those 4 to 5 times. The next time though, when they get that interest of like, yeah, like that was an interesting little like blip I saw or heard,
and now I'm a little more intrigued. Tell me more. And that's the rabbit hole dive. That's why that's important. Yep.
It's a part of what's called passive content creation. There's two kinds of content creation, passive and active. Active is live podcasts, live streams, and anything interactive and ongoing. Then you have passive. Passive is VODs, long form videos, short form videos, anything you post up and you post it and forget it. And reach is just another one of those metrics. And I can straight say it works on me. It's how I started watching this one very funny Dead by Daylight creator. Yes, I play Dead by Daylight. I play all the toxic games, you know, League and Dead by Daylight. But their name is Hidden Longshot. They also go by Jorda. And what they do is they play Silent Hillbilly. Now, I love that y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. To explain y'all out there what this is. So there's a killer in Dead by Daylight named Hillbilly. He is a rip-off Leatherface. And then they actually got Leatherface. But what this guy does is he revs a chainsaw and he just flies Mach fuck across the entire map until he hits somebody and downs them instantly. There's this thing in Dead by Daylight that's called a terror radius. You either will hear him coming by a heartbeat when you're within 32 meters of him, or you'll hear his chainsaw. He has an add-on that if you are outside of his terror radius, you don't hear his chainsaw. In Dead by Daylight, there are perks and add-ons that make your terror radius 0. So at will, he can just turn off his terror radius, and then you don't hear the giant hillbilly with a chainsaw flying at you with Mach fuck speed. And then he hits you and insta-downs you. It is the funniest thing ever to watch people get jump scared by it, because they'll see him just go flying past them and just like go off in a random direction. And they'll be like, oh, wonder what that's about. All of a sudden he comes from behind again because he's so fast he went around the entire map and nails you. And it's just funny. And I only found out about him because YouTube kept pushing him in the face just nonstop. And that goes to explain a certain metric. The all-knowing algorithm. Reach is a direct thing with the algorithm. Now, I can explain what the YouTube algorithm is if y'all want me to. Do y'all want me to do that on the stream?
I don't know. Would that
it's faster than you think.
For another day?
It's faster than you think.
I mean, hey,
all the algorithm
is this the sales pitch that you that you give most others?
No, it's just all the algorithm is this. If you watch something from start to finish, anybody who has watched videos similar to you and has the same view profile as you gets recommended that video. That is it. That is the only thing the algorithm is. There's nothing more to it. It's just view profiles of people close to each other. If someone watches it, that other person gets recommended it too. And it kind of spreads like that. That's all the algorithm is. Everything else is just following Google Trends.
Yep. I mean, makes sense. I mean, I remember you pointing at when we had some of our conversations back around the time that, what was it? Phantom Liberty, I think, was the thing that was about to drop. And you were pointing at Google Trends and saying like, all right, so you're watching this little tick up. This is about to explode. So if you've got content ready, and I hope you do, it's time. Push it. Because in 24 hours,
I was trying to warn y'all.
This is going to explode and you are going to want to be on the rise. And I'm like, it's true. Now we're looking at probably Orion for the next big one, if we're being very honest about it. That's either Orion or whatever little tease they've made about a second Netflix something that is hovering around the fringes, which I know Rob will not say anything that he may or may not know about any of it. I know some of that is very, very secreted by CDPR, but I'm very interested to see what all of that develops into, and there will be so much coverage of it when it does start to happen between this podcast, my personal stuff. Like I will be talking like you've never seen before. I'm very excited.
I hope we get some answers about Antarctica here pretty soon. that whole discussion, and it's just like, why Antarctica of all places?
Yeah.
God damn it, Mike.
Mike says some things at conventions, guys, that like, this is why I take meticulous notes at the Q&As and panels.
Oh, yeah.
Because Mike will say things and be very out of pocket about the way he talks about things. You know, like, he's great.
I love him.
I gotta ask though, Dice, we've talked a little bit about like you getting into being like the PR guy for our talent. What are the biggest challenges with being the PR guy for The Witcher, Cyberpunk, Shadowscar, like let alone two really big franchises and also another up and comer, and then also Fossilized Violence whenever you get here. I can't wait to play with dinosaurs again. But anyway, what are the biggest challenges that you have come across as the PR guy for what would we say Artal is? Smaller, mid-sized company in the
small company.
RPG? Okay.
Small
Pretty
company.
small,
I mean, you're basically a mom and pop.
Anything that's below, I think it's either, I can't remember if it's either 200 or 30 is considered a small to small medium company. So we're a small company. One of the most difficult things is not being able to fulfill everything. And it's one of the harder things about anything in life. There's always requests that I can't meet for folks who are looking to get things or do things. And it does bum me out sometimes that I can't help everyone, because I came from a hospitality background. And if it wasn't for that training of knowing that, if I can't give a yes, I'll give two other options that people can pick through.
Sure.
And that stuck with me from my hard rock training. And I stick to that. It's really useful. But also it is like, y'all see the struggle that it can be moderating a very, very large community.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'll never forget the day where I was called a fascist on both sides of the fence. That was wild. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was wild. But sometimes it is difficult to get across to folks that, not everything can be answered immediately. And sometimes the exact answers are not always going to be what people want. It's navigating the right way to say that and to at least let people know, hey, I get that this mechanic may not make sense to you, or I know that you want things to be this exact way, but you still can do this. You have the total freedom to do things your own way. But people will seek permission direct from us, or they'll have demands for things being certain ways. And I always want to meet them. I always want to help folks out, or I always want to make sure they get the answers they need. And that can be the most challenging part. If it wasn't for the fact I have dealt with thousands and thousands and thousands of people in my life through my jobs, this would be a lot harder.
Yeah.
I'll also say the launch of Shadowscar has been daunting. And the crazier part is my main mentor with it, I would look to Jan like, hey, Jay, how do I do this? And when Shadowscar started to come around, he goes, Rob, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I have never launched a line from scratch before. And I just looked at him and I go, you could have lied to me.
Yeah, but deer in the headlights mode. Whoa.
Yeah. So everything has been just a learning process, but
You did it.
I've been very lucky, not only with the folks I work with, but you really, really do have a very unique community with tabletop RPGs. And I'm not talking about, fan side. I mean, the designers, the creators. There is a very tight-knit community. It's true. Everyone knows each other.
Yep.
And I'll straight say it, if it wasn't for the fact that I was still helping break down everything at Gamma, I had to turn down sushi with a certain individual and Mike, and I regret that I had to do it, but I know I'll get another chance just because the community is that small.
Yeah.
It's the reason why even in our Discord, I don't let people trash talk other TTRPGs. Because I know people who work in every single one of them.
Right.
And it's been wild to get to that point.
Right. And I know that's when you go, and this is for anyone in our audience who has never been to a large tabletop convention like Gen Con, which is probably one of the biggest in the world. Or even PAX, which is definitely a bit smaller in scale, but still pretty large. When you're there and if you take the time to like really talk with the different people at each of the booths, or if like Diamond and I volunteer, you know, like that sort of thing is very apparent when you start seeing, especially near the end of the show, people swapping books, people swapping t-shirts. I've got shirts that came to the Artal booth that James literally held up the first year at PAX that I went. He's like, all right, does anyone care if Emmerron takes this? All right, Emmerron, looks like it's yours. Here, like, and just
we'll just throw it at you.
Yeah. And it's a reality, though. Yeah.
And like it's like when y'all walked around with me, like we went over and visited the Darrington Press booth. We went over and said hey to the folks at Morkboard and Cartel Press. We saw Need Games.
Need Games. Yeah.
God, I can't wait for their Kickstarter.
Everybody at Need Games is amazing.
They are.
I love.
Oh
them. I love them.
Really, really cool people.
Passionate about them. And that's the thing too. When you actually just get to go around and just talk to folks at booths, not looking for deals, but go around and meet the people who make the games, you see consistent passion. And that's what carries a game. Genuine. What is it called again? What's the word? My brain needs the caffeine. Genuine. It's not genuinity. Authenticity. There it is. Okay. Brain was not braining.
It connected. Hey, that's where I was like, Jen, I don't know what Jen or Jen what. Yeah. Authenticity, though. Yes, it is. It's very authentic characters because, it's exactly like you say. Like, going around, because, like, there was a point where, like, after you had done your introductions, you know, because I wandered around with Rob, I think it was, like, the second to last day of PAX this last year, and, like, met a couple people with him. And then I walked around with Phantom the next day, who was also volunteering. And we did the guys over at Morkborg do their corpse run every year, which is anyone related with the Borg system that they know are at the show can all participate in what is like a stamp rally where you go around collecting a stamp at each booth. But to do it, usually you have to talk with them, hear their spiel about their game. But it's so much fun because like you literally, it's exactly what you're describing. All of them are incredibly authentic about the passion they have, about the fun that they have, to the point that even Phantom was like, oh, I need to make a Borg hack, man. Like this is such a cool community we just witnessed, because there was like 16 different booths that all participated in this corpse run. And I think the biggest of them that wasn't Stockholm Cartel itself was like the Alchemy booth, which is a VTT for those of you who don't know. And like, that was incredible to see so many small creators in the space all given a little spotlight because of the stamp rally. And you get to talk with their like 1 or 2 person teams that have most of their stuff on like the little travel brochure sized, you know, printouts and stuff that you could easily see being printable at home. Like it's crazy. That was like a big reason why we did the Night City shopping guide little homebrew thing that we did, because it's like you could print that on printer paper. That's what I designed it to do. So like it's very cool when you see that as like a ever-present part of the community at those places. But no, I definitely see why that would then lead to the challenge of like, I want to do something for these people and be engaged to the same authentic passion that they are. And like when you can't, that is difficult. I could see very easily how that gets difficult. But all right, so we are kind of in our last 15-ish minutes here of things. So Diamond, on your end of the world, have you seen any questions come in across our chat?
Well, of course, from my dear friend Fish, who has always wanted me to ask every member, every person that comes on for an interview. Rob Barefoot, what is your ideal sandwich?
That's a great question.
Okay. It's called a spicy Elvis.
Okay.
Let's get weird.
Let's get weird.
It is a pressed sandwich that, for those who don't know what an Elvis is, it is a peanut butter and jelly and bacon sandwich with marshmallows and bananas. The reason why it is called a spicy Elvis, though, is the peanut butter is replaced with cayenne peanut butter. It whoops your ass.
Cayenne
Oh,
peanut
yeah.
butter. That's
Yes.
a thing.
That
Oh,
is
yeah.
a thing.
I need it.
Oh,
I need it.
oh. You have no idea. And I used to get them from a place in Orlando called Pom Pom's Tea House, which was on Bumpy. And I used to live on the block across from it. Best hangover food ever. And when I was coming home from work, when I used to work in bars in Orlando, they would be open until 4 a.m. and they would have shrimp and grits at 2 a.m. every single day. Yes, in different kinds of shrimp and grits. So good.
Yeah, that's cure-alls all the way down, it sounds like. That's very good.
So you have my
Peanut
answer. It's
butter-
the spicy Elvis. And
The
I would love to find a
spicy
place to
peanut
make
butter,
some.
jelly, bacon.
Are you looking for it right now, Diamond?
No, I'm just trying to think. I think the only thing I'd have to find is that spicy peanut butter.
Yeah, to do the spicy version for sure. The first time I ever engaged with an Elvis was the like dining hall at my university had them as like a special item one time, and it was very much like what when I first saw it, and then I was like, oh, okay, that's doable. We can do that. And it was delicious. Highly recommended. If like none of those are allergens for any of you, I promise that as weird as like a regular Elvis sounds, it's more tasty than you could imagine.
I'm sure people are wondering why my face is lighting up. Diamond's
Yeah.
about to get a gift. At least a link. A link.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
one of them
here
right
it-
there.
Okay. All right. So it's made from like a small company. I have no. Oh, okay. That looks like it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
That sounds like a specialty item, to be fair. That's in the same
Oh,
vein
it
as
is.
like novel hot sauces and
All
things
right.
like that. A-
Um,
any other questions that came in, Diamond?
Yes. So one of the other questions, Rob, we understand that you, and I think I already know the answer to this one, but even though you did voice Bly Harjo for Nomad Presents Radio, what are your top 3 roles for Cyberpunk? Like if you had to
All
pick
right.
the top 3.
So lately, my preference for roles has shifted.
Oh.
Right now, it is definitely Fixer, Lawman, and then Nomad.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Fixer's been one you've been into for a while though, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm playing around with it being less of a very stationary, trying to take over a niche kind of thing,
Right.
and more of being somebody who's just very resourceful.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to be not even the middleman, but the person who gets the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
Like,
Fixer is such a cool role. That's one I've not gotten a chance to play it nearly as much
You
as
can make a
I'd
really
like
good
to myself.
spy.
It's so much
well,
fun.
yeah, I was
Be a
gonna say
really good spy
it.
with it.
Most people don't see it. A lot of people look at Solomon Reed and go, "Oh, yeah, he's a solo." No, he's a Fixer solo.
So Societal Danger points out, and I mean, what Societal Danger, just to be clear, I mean, he's the media guy, so I imagine he's at least glanced most of the 2020 library to a certain extent. But he said, I saw you looking at the 2020 books. What one is your favorite one so far? His is Wild Side, which, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple. Believe it or not, I'm right there with you. What is that? Nope.
That's, yeah.
Can't show you that one over there.
Oh.
Where are you? Where are you? Aha. I gotta actually agree. We were actually talking about Wild Side
We were.
a little bit before the show. Like,
Mhm.
I've been going through it for a few ideas too. I've
Yeah.
got Wild Side to finish, and then, by the way, yes, I have every single printed 2020 book right beside me. Then I got Protect and Serve next, and then after that, Live and Direct. Because I was gonna say that number 3, if not Nomad, I do say media, but that's because I'm on a role play kick when I play.
Sure.
Less about boom boom, more about neat stuff. I used to be heavy into being a tech and a med tech, but now I've
Mhm.
got other plans.
Yeah. Socializer roles, I think, are one that, like, when you're new to the game and your main point of reference are combat heavy games like D&D or similar analogs to it, it's much more tempting to look at like Solo or even Netrunner or like you know, anything that basically lets you carry a big stick and do a lot of stuff in like a combat arena, and like stuff like exec or media fall hard by the wayside initially. And it's as you become more familiar with the system and more comfortable with its freedoms that you're like, oh, I want to try that. That seems like fun. And it's like, yeah, then it opens a whole new world of things to you.
Yeah, because people start to realize that Cyberpunk is not only combat, it's more social and intrigue than a lot of folks think. Like I love the investigation side of Cyberpunk. Yeah. But that's also because I'm a fan of another game too, which we won't go into or else we're not going to leave.
Maybe I definitely enjoy the game in question. I imagine it starts with a B, ends with an R.
No, this.
Blade Runner. Okay.
Yeah. I thought you were tapping Fabula Ultima. I'm like, no, Blade Runner.
I was tapping Fabula, but Blade Runner is an equally. That's actually how Rob and I started talking, was over Blade Runner. So I'm like, I'm curious about it, and he's like, oh, just let me add you on Discord. We'll have a conversation later. And I was like, okay, sounds good.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Also, the wife is interested in the peanut butter as well. She does say hello.
Tell her hello for me. Hope she's doing good. Hopefully she's not blown up any ships lately. I heard about you getting stranded, Diamond.
Oh, you did. Oh.
You were.
Yes, I did.
You weren't in the green room yet, and I was telling him why I was up so early this morning still.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help. I thought I had everything set. No, I didn't.
No, it's fine.
I know your pain because I'll never forget when things were still, well, it's always been buggy. It's still the game we're talking about, by the way, Star Citizen. Guilty pleasure.
Great game.
I'll never forget when wind over affected ships and I had landed at Records Yard and I was in an Andromeda. I get out. I hear something go bump. And I look behind me, and the wind itself is just tumbleweeding my ship.
You left your engines on, didn't you?
That bug?
No.
Oh.
No, that's just how powerful the winds were that time. It was that bugged up.
That bug was awful. That bug was awful.
I melted that constellation so quick. I'm like,
nope, we're not doing that again.
I'm not on Star Citizen in at least about 6 months to a year.
Well,
I need to look at
Pyro is gorgeous.
I've still never been.
It's dangerous, but it's gorgeous.
Still never been.
You should hop in. We're both part of an org now that like does pretty regular stuff. So if you ever have the time, you'd be welcome, I'm sure, to join us. One of our org mates in particular, a guy by the name of Satel, had apparently been like, he's a big Cyberpunk fan. He was talking with, because Diamond and Valkyrie were in the org first, and they're like, yeah, so Emmerron, we met one of your fans completely in the wild. I said, what do you mean? Satel had seen my videos. He's like, oh yeah, his videos are awesome. He explains things in such a great way. And they're like, so funny story, he's a good friend of ours. Like, so I know if we got him, if we got you in, he'd probably lose his mind.
I'm still not used to that.
It's
the wife has sent a question. What is your favorite cyberware?
Ooh. Do I have to do it overall, or can I do it by era?
Let's go by era.
Roll it. Yeah, I was gonna say top 3 is fine for this format.
For 2020 and 2045, Death Trance.
Oh,
Death Trance, cool. Yeah, that's a cool one.
And then for 2077, Gorilla Arms. I can't really though pick one from here because I still need to look through this proper.
Yeah.
By the way, yes, I'm just showing this off. Yeah,
I just
this
love
is the one we used to have. Yeah, this is the flex
on y'all nerds.
This is the one from the RTAL library. Like I have our copy.
That's insane.
And I still need to go through it. I love that thing. I'm so afraid of doing something to it wrong. I'm so afraid of damaging it.
It's time to pull a heist. Anyway,
it's weird to have a box that's older than me here. Okay.
Yeah, I can
this
only
is original
imagine.
Print.
1987 or 88?
Yeah. 86. I'm 87.
That's nuts. That is actually nuts. It's crazy to think that Cyberpunk as like an IP has been around for nearly 40 years. Mm-hmm. That is mind blowing. Actually,
we're keeping that in mind.
Oh, whoa. Oh.
I'm sure you are.
Oh, I can have a poker face when I want to.
I know you can.
Well, yeah, we're
Say
coming up on
something
5
like
years
that.
to Brad. So
Yeah, because remember,
yeah.
this was the first release.
Yeah,
Well, not this book exactly. This is
but the
Is this
franchise,
Mechton?
yeah, Mechton is kind of the start of it.
this is it. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
it. I've got a mech shelf down here.
So
I honestly
then,
think the lamp folks what almost broke that dang thing.
so Diamond, do we have any other questions?
let me see. Do I have any other questions for? No, you're not gonna. No. We're not gonna be asking
Ask
this.
it.
What?
Ask it.
What
Ask it
what
anyway.
is he? Okay, hold on. Let me get that nasally voice going. When is the 2077 source book coming out? No, we're not answering these questions. No.
All right.
Oh,
So, Edge Runner's Guide to Night City is our main current focus,
sure.
but the 2077 source book is being prepared parallel.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Edge Runner's Guide to Night City is further along than the 2077 source book.
Sure.
I myself have helped with the 2077 source book. But right now, I'll go ahead and say it. I would not expect it sooner. Because next release that we're looking to do is going to be hopefully Interface Red Volume 4.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Makes sense.
There you go, Fish. There's your answer. Please
There's-
stop asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We.
The 2077 source book itself is not linked to our usual release schedule,
Right.
just like the mission kit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The mission kit was done when it was done. And this is going to be done when it's done.
Yeah.
I honestly like that answer.
Well, and I know after, some conversations and stuff, those are always more complicated because of just how many hands are how many bodies are in the kitchen at the same time with those products, because they are collaborative with CDPR. They're not solely in-house Artal like the rest of Red is. So that does
when
make
it
it
comes to the
complicated.
2077 stuff, we're playing in their playground.
Mhm.
And they work with us tight knit.
Mhm.
Like I'm not gonna lie, I love when I get my meetings with CDPR because they're all a bunch of nerds and they're cool.
Kinda cool.
I geek out with them just as bad as I do the rest of Artal.
Mhm.
But I was
It'd be kinda
going
cool
to
get
say,
those
what was I going to say
guys.
about it? One thing about my job too, I didn't mention earlier, and this is something folks actually going to get a kick out of. I'm the one who usually sets the release dates. So if y'all keep asking me about that source book, I'm going to put it off.
Every time
'Cause
you
I could
ask,
always
it gets
use
a
some
month
extra
further
promo
back.
time now. No, I'm not going to do that to y'all. If we get something ready, we're going to release it. But I always like to give a little lead time. But we make
The
it very
delays.
clear when something's about to drop. We don't just magically have it appear. We're
Mhm.
very open about it because we want people who are our fans, who are very interested in what's coming. We want you to know when it's coming so you can put aside the money and not be caught off guard. Because, God, that sucks when that happens.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It sucks when it happens. It's happened to me. I want to have money to get cool thing. I don't like it when I get caught off guard.
Sure.
What was it? I had a recent thing that caught me off guard. What was it? Bleach Rebirth of Souls? It was a video game that came out. And I was ready to go with it, and I'd bought a game the week before, and I didn't know it was going to drop that next day. I was pissed. And then I went and bought the game, didn't like it, refunded it.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, at least there's that lovely Steam refund policy at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
So this is, it's kind of funny. It kind of dovetails in a weird way into what you were just saying. So I need to get their name right here, and my eyes are not great right now. I think it's Iltrox. So Iltrox asks, so he first comments, the detective social part is such a good time. It's so great to see our players go from I cast to instantly solve the problem, to seeing their faces light up when they do the hard work, put it together themselves. What is a unexpected favorite in what is an unexpected favorite in-game moment in Cyberpunk that you've seen?
Oh, boy. It's going to be back before I knew the game good.
Sure.
And I believe that grenades were rate of fire, too. I was playing with my friends. They were going through getting paid. And what I did is I used getting paid to segue into Reaping the Reaper. Anytime I play any pre-made adventure, I actually do what I call a prelude. I always like doing that. So there's actual grounds. There's people meeting certain people in advance and they don't know they're going to run into another time. I enjoy doing that. So the dirty cops that got away in getting paid were the bad guys for this. And I had set up, I think it was Borda and a few others in the area. And it was clearly going to be a sabotage trap. The cops had backed a van into a warehouse halfway, but covered it. But the van was running because what they were doing was pumping the warehouse full of monoxide to basically be a trap. My players, pretty keen, but they had also stockpiled grenades, climbed on top of the warehouse using grappling hooks, and crawled across the roof, prone, and looked down. There were 2 covered cars right beside that van. And you know what? They didn't care who was in the cars. They began to pull and drop grenades like crazy on those cars. I'm not a GM who shifts stuff around just so my story plays out because I want to play out. No, their actions 100% had consequences. They bombed the hell out of the cops that were hiding in those cars.
Wow.
Completely trivialized that entire fight because the moment those cars were gone, the side of that van busted open with a cyber-psychoed up cop. And they didn't stand a chance. It wasn't even anticlimactic because it literally was just, God, I can think of movie scenes. People just leaning over a side going, boop, boop. It was just like fishing. It was just like fishing for them.
Yeah.
It was bad. And for me, I was just sitting there jaw dropped as they're just laughing, as they're just laying waste to everything below. And they go, so what can we loot? And I go, you think there's loot?
Yeah.
Do you know what you just did?
They're currently resting in pieces, my guy. What do you expect there to be?
It was so funny. And yet God, they were so unhinged. They were so unhinged in that playthrough.
No,
but yeah, that always is gonna stick out with me.
I agree, though. That's like most of my stories even are like from a place of like lower level understanding of the system, but that's where you, I feel like, have the most fun if you let yourself have the fun, because you're just like, the rules don't really matter. We're here to just do stuff that is fun and entertaining, and that's all that really matters at the end of the day is those metrics.
Yeah, because we just were straight up being silly with it, and afterwards I'm like, guys, I've been wrong this whole time. They go, do you gotta nerf it? I'm like, yeah, I gotta nerf it. Y'all gonna blow everything up. I can't have it. It's either that or every time grenades drop, you get NCPD response. And they go, all right, nerf it, nerf it, nerf it. Yeah,
Societal danger. It was a closed casting shoebox burial. There is no loot, Choom. Yeah.
Yeah, there is no loot. There is a crater.
Yeah, there's a massive crater where there was people before. So we're pretty much coming up on the end of the show. So I will simply ask this as sort of my own thing here. Given all that we've discussed, Rob, is there any last minute nuggets of knowledge, insight, etc. that you would like to drop on our audience here at the end of the show this week?
It's the one that drives everyone crazy. Quit being afraid to break canon. You're telling your own story, not ours. If we wanted you to tell our story, well, we would just write a book because we'd be just telling our story. Break canon, have fun with it. You don't have to be exact, because in the pursuit of perfection, you're going to bypass great and good. And usually it's great and good when you have that scuff and the silliness. That's what people remember more than a perfect story. Don't pursue perfection. You don't need to. Just have some fun with your friends.
100%. Very, very wise words to run the game by, I think. All right. Please,
any last important news to the community while you have us here?
There's a couple things I would like to announce soon, but I cannot. Because they're not mine to announce. But there is going to be a very eventful first part of May. Wait. Hold on.
Dang, I'm going to be moving in at that point.
For the first week of May is going to be a fun one.
Oh,
yeah.
There is.
We'll be
a
able
lot
to
of cool
celebrate
things.
together in person on that, Diamond. It'll be great.
oh, wait, Wireheads IRL, right? Yeah.
We are. We're right now definitely in a state where all of our Tal is heads down working
Sure.
to get stuff out. There's a lot we're doing, and I don't want to take the fire until the ones that are in charge of those lines go do it.
Right.
But one thing that I've said only in the Discord and not really shared out a lot is The Witcher's no longer on pause.
Yes.
You know what that means.
Oh boy.
It's going to be a fun little ride where The Witcher is concerned now that, because I think
there's
we got,
currently a book in development.
ooh, because I know we got news of the hiatus, I think, at that first Gen Con that you and I were both at. And
That was when they announced the pause.
That's when they announced the pause. So to hear nearly 2 years later that we're so back. I know several people in my immediate circle of friends that are beyond chomping at the bit, excited about what that means for the future of the game. I'm really excited.
I'll also say this too. It is not a second edition. That I can say. That I'm allowed to say. It is not a second edition of the game yet.
Yet. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. I'm looking forward to everything that we have on the horizon. It's going to be a good fun ride out the rest of the year. I'm really excited for Gen Con because, as I said, we'll all be back together in the same room yet again and be able to hopefully do some fun stuff. So, Rob, thank you for taking some time out of your busy as hell schedule to fit some time in with us.
You see these dark circles. You know what these are.
I do more than I'd care to admit. But thank you for taking that time, for being here with us tonight, for taking a few hours to talk with us. And to everyone, whether you're watching this with us here live, watching this later on YouTube or Spotify, thank you all for being here as well. I hope all of you have a wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Stay healthy, stay safe, and until our next time, because it'll be a few weeks here because of some social obligation stuff. Peace, guys. We'll see you very soon.
Bye.
Take care, y'all. Go break some rules.
Break rules. Do it.